Hello friends, welcome to MSFT Webcast. In this step-by-step video tutorial, you'll be learning how to install and configure file screening using File Server Resource Manager on Windows Server 2016. If you manage one or several file servers in your infrastructure, you may have the will to prevent users to paste files with specific extensions. File screening management is a feature which allows you to create file screens to block specific file types from being saved in a folder. In this tutorial, I will show you how to install the File Server Resource Manager and using FSRM how to create a file screening to block image files from being saved in specific folder. In order to deny some file extension, we need to install and configure this rule first. So let's see how we can install FSRM in Windows Server 2016. For this demonstration, I will be using my domain controller named srd-dc01 and our domain name is mylab.local. In the first step, we are going to install FSRM role on this server. So let's click on Add Roles and Features. Click on Next on Before You Begin console. Here I'm going to select a role-based or feature-based installation and then I'm going to click on Next button. We are selecting our local server to install FSRM role. So select your local server and then I'm going to click on Next button. On Select Server Roles, expand File and Storage Services, expand File and iSCSI Services and then select File Server Resource Manager. Let's click on Add Feature to add required features. Let's click on Next, Next again, and now let's click on Install to start the installation process. Okay, File Server Resource Manager has been installed successfully on this server. Let's click on Close to close this console. In the second step, we'll be creating one shared folder on which we want to implement file screening. So let's click on File and Storage Services. Let's click on Shares. Let's click on Task and then I'm going to select a new share. Now on select a profile for this share, I'm going to select SMB Share Quick Profile. Let's click on Next. Now here I'm going to select Type a Custom Path and then I'm going to click on Browse button. Let's select D drive. Let's click on New Folder to create a new folder on a D drive. I'm going to give a name Folder 1. Select the folder. So the path will be d:/folder 1. Let's click on Next button. Now on this console, you can see the share name will be folder 1. The local path to share is d:/folder 1 and the remote path to access the share folder is unc path srd-dc01/folder 1. Let's click on Next. Now on this console, I'm going to select Enable Access-Based Enumeration. Let's click on Next button. Now here you can see a share permission is everyone full control. If you want to customize the NTFS permission, that time you have to click on this button. But for this demonstration, I'm going with default permission and then I'm going to click on Next button. Let's click on Create to create a share folder. Okay, the share was successfully created. Let's click on Close to close this console. So now we have one share folder on our server named Folder 1 on which we want to configure file screening. Now, in the third step, we're going to configure file screening using File Server Resource Manager. For that, we have to open File Server Resource Manager Management Console. To do that, I'm going to click on Tools and then I'm going to select File Server Resource Manager. First of all, let's configure server options. And for that, you have to select your local server, right click on it and select Configure Options. On the Email Notification tab, you can set your email server and email addresses. You can set your security team distribution list for an example. But in our case, we do not have an email server, so I will keep it to default and that is blank. Let's click on OK. Let's expand File Screening Management and let's click on File Groups. Microsoft provides us 11 file group which contains extension types. For example, the file group name audio and video files block all movies and music extensions like .avi and .mp3 file. You can create your own custom file screen group as per your requirement. Once the file group is created, we need to deploy the template on the folder. So let's click on File Screens. Now right click on File Screens and select Create File Screens. Let's click on Browse. Expand D drive and select folder 1. Let's click on OK. Now here we have options to specify file screen template like block audio video files and so on. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to select block image file. You can also define a custom file screens property as per your requirement. For that, you have to click on custom properties. Then you have to select screening type. Active screening, that means that will not allow users to save unauthorized file, and the passive screening for monitoring purpose. For this demonstration, I'm going to select image files. You can select multiple group to block. If you want to modify any settings, you can click on Edit button. Now here, this is the image group name and this is the files to include in this image group. Let's click on OK. Now, we do not have image server, so I'm not going to select these options, but we want to generate one event log. So for that, I'm going to click on Event Log tab and then I will select this, Send Warning to Event Log. Let's click on OK. Let's click on Create to create file screening on our folder 1. It is asking us if you want to save this custom property as a template, you can specify the name. But for this demonstration, I'm not going to save this. So save the custom file screening without creating template. Okay, here we go. So now we have a file screening in a place. You can also create file screen templates as per your requirement. These are the default file screen templates. So in the last step, we are going to test the file screening configuration. And for that, I have one more virtual machine. This is our Windows 10 computer and this machine is a part of our Active Directory domain mylab.local. And I'm going to log in as our user, test user1. Let's specify the password. Now I'm going to access the shared folder by using UNC path srt-dc01. Okay, this is the folder which we shared on our server, folder 1. Now I'm going to create one folder and let's specify name test1. Okay, let's open MS Paint. Let's save this file on a desktop. I'm going to give name image1 and let's specify extension JPG. Okay, so now we have one image with the file extension .jpg. Let's try to save this image file on our folder test1. And here we go. Now you are receiving one warning message that tells us you need permission to perform this action. So we are not able to save one image file on a folder where we configure file screening. We can say when a user tries to copy paste a file with a block extension, he will get an access denied error. And at the same time, one event log is also generated. You can check that on your server. So let's click on cancel it and let's move to our server. Let's go back to Server Manager. Let's click on Tools and select Event Viewer. On Event Viewer, expand Custom Views and click on Administrative Events. And here we go. This is the event which we are looking for. Let's double click on it. And here we can see event log. User mylab/user1 attempted to save d:/folder1 test1 and the file name is image1.jpg to this folder on our server srt-dc01. This file is in image file group which is not permitted on the server. So here you can see this user name user1 try to save this file on this folder where we configure file screening. So this is the way how you can configure file screening on a shared folder using File Server Resource Manager in Windows Server 2016. That concludes the video demonstration. Thank you all for watching this video.